Once again from DPL Surveillance Equipment. Looks like it's a beautiful morning. A little bit of overcast and cloudy this morning, but I think it's fresh air. Probably because when you get a tiny bit of rain or something during the evening or night, it clears up the air. So that makes it very very nice. And when you get fresh air and early in the morning like this, really wakes you up. Especially when you're out and about like I am doing chores early in the morning. Doesn't help. It doesn't hurt to have a lot of fresh air going on. So, what else is going on, you guys? Look like the New Yorker, the New York, what is it? New York Times has published information in relation to Donald Trump's claims about him being a self-made billionaire. It looks like actually what was taking place was the father, Senior Trump, actually was responsible for making sure that there was various trusts set up so that the various family members could transfer money in and out of trusts and in between, excuse the noise for a second, and in between various entities to avoid paying taxes on $500 million worth of assets at least, and only paying about $50 million versus $500 million. So this was one of the same individuals who published this information, I think in the New York Times, who actually successfully countered a lawsuit by Donald Trump. So Donald Trump, I guess, attempted to discredit and prevent this guy from coming forward with, the various stories about Donald Trump. So But the guy obviously prevailed in court. Now, so now we have further information about Donald Trump and the various other family members actually getting tons and tons of money in the range of hundreds of millions of dollars. Not borrowed money, but just straight out gifts from their portion of the inheritance, and from Senior Trump. I forget his name, Fred Trump, I think it was, Fred. Anyway, moving right along. Enough of liars and crooks session. Moving right along. What else is going on here? Let's see. What else? Oh yeah, Amazon is raising minimum wages to $15 for their employees. So that may set a precedent whereby you people who are working for a living, perhaps looking to work for Amazon or looking to work for various companies in corporate America, for instance, you may be in a situation where you could very, very well likely get your raise, the type of raise that you want. Because it seems like Amazon is indeed setting a precedent in terms of raising their wages. So that may help out for those who are working for a living. But just be careful out there and knowing what you're up against, because actually what's happening is companies are raising wages at a time when jobs are becoming displaced at a very unusual rate because of robotics, because of AI, because of cloud-based computing and all of these things taking over. So I'm not quite sure whether or not a lot of these jobs are going to last for very long. So just be prepared for your transition. I was always a firm believer in preparing for things that could happen while I'm working for a living. When I was working for a living, you always want to be aware of what's happening, what's immediately coming over the horizon. So keep your eye on what industries, what jobs are more prone to mechanization or just being replaced because of AI, robotics, and certain things like that. And then in addition to that, also your wages just may be offset by the increase in not only gas, which is expected to, or rather oil, which is expected to reach like $100 a barrel. You also want to keep in mind that various other things impacted by the tariffs. The farmers aren't going to be able to sell as much agriculture outside the United States. So it's going to be a lot of pressure to not plant as much or whatever, and just a whole bunch of different categories of products and services. Mainly products are going to be hit with tariffs. So hopefully your wages that you're earning as a result of working 9 to 5 could very well be impacted. So just keep an eye on that as well. So what's going on today? Let's take a look at this article and see where we are. Oh yeah, before I forget, my name is Monty Henry, owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment. I actually run a full-service surveillance and security equipment company. We have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products. We have 24/7, 365 tech sales and customer support. We have perhaps the largest inventory of items that not only can you buy, but you can rent or you can lay away as well. We have a humongous and growing video library, articles directory, podcasts, demonstration videos, and blogs on our website. All of that information is free, very educational. This particular podcast is going to be published this morning as well to add to the collection. We do accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies such as Bcash, Litecoin, and Ethereum. That's been integrated into our shopping cart. We're trying to get away from the traditional finance industry, the MasterCards and the Visas and the American Express and Discovers. They're looting the economy. They're extracting too much in the way of financial resources. The discount fees, the batch fees, the chargeback abuses perpetuated by customers who don't have any money but want to pretend like they can go out and charge whatever they want on these credit cards, only to do a charge back after they get through playing with your products and sampling your services. The credit card companies and the credit card issuers are actually allowing the customers to get away with all of this abuse in the system. It just creates a lot of waste, a lot of overhead, a lot of extra costs for everyone involved. So when we do cryptocurrencies, when we make the transition completely to Bitcoin, there's going to be a lot more accountability going on in the near future with cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, because it works like cash. When you won't be able to do a chargeback, you won't be going crying to your credit card company talking about, which check do I need to check off, regardless whether or not it's true or false. Where do I check off to just get my money back? Because I'm through playing with this guy's product or playing with the guy's service, whoever you bought it from. So we're going to get away from that completely with Bitcoin. Those transactions are going to be treated like cash, and you'll have to talk to the merchant, talk to the retailer if you're a customer, and you'll have to settle like two mature human beings did way back in the days before the MasterCards and the Visas and all the banks and all the intermediaries got in the way. Arbitration panels is just so convoluted and so bureaucratic. It doesn't even make any sense anymore. Anyway, we also redesigned the website. It looks good. It works great. It works on portable devices, your PDA, your smartphone, laptops, desktop, whatever. Put a lot of money into developing it, so we're ready for the future. I think the next 5 or 10 years, we should be just fine with that, with the business up and running and all the new products, all the used products on the website, waiting for your corporate buyers, you Bitcoin millionaires, and your military agencies, law enforcement. Give us a call, and we'll see if we can help you out. Today's article, by the way, let's get into the article and see what is it all about. It talks about cyber-espionage. We have a category on the website, by the way, called cybersecurity, and this is going to be the latest entrant in that category, covering cybersecurity. The article is entitled Cyber-Espionage Experts Want to Know Who's Exposing China's Hacking Army. Again, cyber-espionage experts want to know who's exposing China's hacking army. Group called Intrusion Truth has published information online about hacking campaigns. The world's cyber-sleuths are investigating a new mystery who is behind an anonymous effort to expose China's hacker army. An anonymous group calling itself Intrusion Truth in August published a blog post about one of the most prolific suspected China-linked hacking groups tracked by cybersecurity researchers. It was the latest in a series of online messages and blog posts dating back to May 2017 that outlined two alleged Chinese hacking campaigns, including providing the names of suspected hackers. Separately, two of those named were later charged by U.S. authorities. Again, it's really rare that researchers disclose the names of the individual hackers. So whoever's exposing this information about Chinese hackers is really separating themselves from the other researchers who are exposing hackers in terms of providing names. So that's very unique. Keep that in mind, you guys. Security researchers say they don't know who is behind Intrusion Truth. The group's method of anonymously dumping information and targeting a foreign intelligence agency is something new, they say, and exposing alleged illegal activity could up the pressure on Chinese companies cooperating with state-sponsored hacking efforts. U.S. officials and security researchers have linked Chinese hackers for years to government-backed computer intrusions and to U.S. companies. China has denied involvement in hacking U.S. companies. Intrusion Truth's anonymity might itself be a clue to its identity. Some large corporations and security companies that employ researchers who track China's hackers might be reluctant to release findings for fear of reprisals from China's government, said Ben Reed, who manages cyber-espionage investigations at FireEye. Intrusion Truth named individual alleged culprits, unusual in the world of nation's state hacking research. Posted photographs, dug up alleged hackers' places of work, and even revealed Uber receipts that appeared to link the individuals to particular addresses in China. That is the kind of expert sleuthing few people would have the language skills, tools, and research abilities to pull off, said Thomas Reid, a professor at Johns Hopkins University. It's somebody who is professional, he said, somebody who knows what they're doing. A round of finger-pointing has erupted in the sleuth community over who is behind Intrusion Truth. One theory is the group may work for a corporate victim of Chinese hackers. There are a whole load of people accusing each other, one researcher said. He said he has received multiple messages asking whether he is part of Intrusion Truth. I just want to say this is going to undoubtedly result in a lot of people coming up with credible information, hopefully, that will also expose information about Chinese hacking, mainly because now I think the general public is going to get the idea, or at least people in the cybersecurity field are going to get the idea that they can submit information to Intrusion Truth like a copycat. When you have a crime that's being committed, a lot of times, in whatever area, you have copycats, right, that come out. And I can bet you that you're going to have a number of copycats that are going to come out with information and tips, and it's going to be submitted to Intrusion Truth. Intrusion Truth is going to have to, verify and authenticate the credibility of the information. But this could lead to the outsourcing of information in relation to Chinese hacking going on. I can guarantee you they're going to get a flood of information to deal with from people who want to just help out and maybe establish themselves as credible if that's what they want as well. Intrusion Truth has published dozens of messages to Twitter and more than a dozen posts to the blog site Medium over the past 16 months. I'm going to take a look at Twitter and Medium and see if I can get some of that information for you guys so we can put it all into this blog. In them, it has posted evidence linking Chinese companies to a suspected China-backed hacking group known as Apartment 3 and another known as Apartment 10 or Stone Panda, shedding light on the continued threat of Chinese hacking. Again, Apartment 3 and Apartment 10, in addition to Stone Panda, look like these are some of the organizations that were implicated. So I guess you guys who will call yourself professional hackers out there working for the United States, you probably want to make a note of the fact that we have an Apartment 3 and Apartment 10 are Stone Panda. And these are some of the culprits from China that seems to be doing a lot of damage. So now you have your homework for today. Apartment 10 is one of the most active groups we track, said Mr. Reed. The group has hacked companies in Japan and Europe and has targeted entities in the United States, he said. Intrusion Truth also has zeroed in on several Chinese companies alleging they are linked to government-backed hacking campaigns. We are focusing our efforts on determining whether these are just companies that hack or would be better described as fronts enabling the Chinese state to employ hackers who can later be scapegoated as criminals. That's the question, you guys. Intrusion Truth said in a Twitter message in August, this is what they said. Moving right along. Early last year, the group said 2 employees of Guangdong Boyu Information Technology Company, known as Boyusec, were part of Apartment 3. 6 months later, U.S. authorities indicted the men, Wu Zhenghao and Dong Hao, saying they were involved in Apartment 3 computer intrusions at Moody's Analytics and the German engineering company Siemens. Messrs. Wu and Dong couldn't be reached for comment. There's no surprise there, right? Representatives from Biosec, which dissolved before the indictments were unsealed, couldn't be reached for comment. See, that's one of the problems when you implicate a company in China. What do you do ultimately to get the Chinese government to cooperate with you? Companies fold, individuals get extradited back to China, and now you have another problem. How do you get access to these people to bring them to court and bring it, charges against them actually? So that's another issue, right? Intrusion Truth didn't respond to messages seeking comment. In late August, the group said its aim is to make Chinese hackers think twice about their illegal online activities, according to Motherboard. Intrusion Truth linked internet domains and email addresses associated with websites used by Apartment 10 to other Chinese companies, Tianjin Huayang Hartai Science and Technology Development Company, and Luoyang Dingzhong Instruments Equipment Company. A woman answering the number listed for Huayang Hartai hung up when asked for comment. Luoyang Boshang couldn't be reached for comment. Typically, Intrusion Truth posts data that could be uncovered online or via research tools used by professional threat analysts. The Apartment 10 evidence, though, included material that would have been harder to obtain, copies of alleged Uber receipts belonging to an employee who had worked at the 2 companies. Intrusion Truth says these receipts show travel by this person to a building operated by China's intelligence agency. The agency didn't accept media inquiries. CrowdStrike Incorporated, which tracks Chinese hacking campaigns, in late August published a blog post agreeing with much of what Intrusion Truth had reported on Apartment 10. The information they have access to goes way beyond what we would have access to, said Adam Myers, an executive with the cybersecurity firm. I think this is the end of the article, you guys. I think a lot of this just illustrates how now the United States is taking a more proactive role in terms of disclosing information by anonymous entities so that our corporations and such don't have to worry about retribution or reprisal from the Chinese government and hacking entities inside of China. Which is good. I mean, if you can, crowdsource everything else, you crowdsource the divulging of information in relation to Chinese hacks. That way, every citizen in the United States who knows anything about anything could talk about and reveal and disclose what they know about hacking attempts and such. Just like they're doing in China, believe it or not, all the citizens in China, through public relations and billboards and public transit areas or whatever, they have the Chinese government is trying to compel the citizens to reveal suspicious activities by anyone who may be a foreigner, for instance, in China, who may be doing things that seem to be suspicious. So again, when you have this type of public campaign going on inside the United States or inside of China, where everybody's on the lookout for suspicious activity and reporting it, for instance, anonymously, then that helps a lot. So basically, that's what's going on. The United States is trying to counter basically what China has been doing for a while. So keep your eyes and ears open, as I always say. And stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great day.